Hi everyone. I wanted to share a video update because I haven't shared one in a while. Had some written posts on Instagram and Facebook, but I haven't done a video in a while. I've been processing through a lot emotionally and physically, and I just, needed some time to really get thoughts together, just to think about what it was that I wanted to say. I think sort of lately the theme that I've been seeing a lot of is people discussing in memes or posts on this idea of wounds and what it means for us to be wounded or to stay wounded, or there's been some controversy that I've seen that people say, well, it's pressure to be responsible to heal myself. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to share a quote from Carolyn Miss, and this is it. We are not meant to stay wounded. We are supposed to move through our tragedies and challenges and to help each other move through the painful episodes of our lives. Wounds are the means through which we enter the hearts of other people. I thought that was a great quote because I know for myself, I don't want to stay wounded. And I think that last line about not about entering the hearts of other people, I think our own wounds are a way for us to enter our own heart. Since I did my last video, I think what I've got now, I've got 3 different hernias that I've been diagnosed with: a hiatal hernia, an inguinal hernia, and an umbilical hernia. And most recently, in the last couple of weeks, I've been given diagnosis of adenomyosis, which is a condition in your uterus where the endometrium is pushing through the myometrium. So it's basically like the inner linings pushing through the muscle of the uterus. I'd never heard of it before. I didn't know it was a thing. But it's been very empowering for me to go through the medical system after such a long time of sort of being told, exercise, eat right, everything's going to be fine. And telling myself that and knowing that those things are good for me, but not really knowing what I should do because I was in a lot of pain. And just recently, I've had about 4 or 5 days where I had intense pain, and 2 of those days basically I just rested. And I had a lot of emotion come up. And I remembered when my children were small. I have 2 adult children now and 2 teenagers. So when they were smaller, I really felt like I couldn't be sick. I didn't have time to be sick. And I know there were a few times that I was and hospitalized, and it was like I just wanted to get better as quickly as I could because I had people that needed me. And I think there's a lot of us that feel like that, and we feel like we need to be better for other people, and we don't really concentrate on being better for ourselves. And that's really when we're in survival mode, I think. And I know that I was in survival mode for a long time, and I'm still moving out of it in some respects, where there's certain areas of my life where I'm thriving, and some places where I'm still working through the emotional aspects, ideas around just being in survival. And some of that is letting go of this physical pain, actually empowering myself to go out and to get answers, to figure out what it is. I've received, some messages, comments from people that, oh, I've got these exercises that, are going to help you be pain free. I always take that with a grain of salt because I have a really good physiotherapist that we had to decide that I had to start with my body at the very beginning. I literally had to emotionally, physically forget that I was ever a an elite gymnast and go, okay, this is where my body's at right now. This is what it can handle, and I need to build it up, and I need to build it up slowly so that I'm not injuring myself further or hurting myself. I really need to do that. The other comment that I get sometimes is people are like, oh, well, you want to avoid surgery, and everybody's got this thing like, oh my God. And I'm like, well, first of all, I'm going to be very clear that avoidance is what's gotten me here in the first place, because I was avoiding the fact that I had pain, that I was avoiding dealing with it because I thought I don't have time to do it. And so I don't want at this point to avoid anything. I want to explore all of the options that are available to me, whether it's emotionally, well, that's a sort of a separate part, but physically, I want to explore all of the options available to me to make myself as healthy as possible. And if that means that maybe surgery, because that's with adenomyosis, that's really the only cure for it, that I've done the research and talked to people so far, and I'm waiting to see some specialists. So it's kind of a waiting game at this point and just doing what I can to make myself healthy and strong. when people tell me that they want to avoid something, it's like, well, when I feel like I need to avoid something, I need to examine that idea, because avoiding something means I'm afraid of it. So I have been examining in the last, 8 months that I've been going through this process. Why did I avoid this? What emotional things was I avoiding dealing with? What was I afraid of? And really just looking at those things. And sometimes that is really, really difficult, and I've cried a lot, which has helped, with my physical pain, because we do hold pain inside of our bodies, and I haven't been helping myself in the way that it needed, and now I am, where I'm doing the best that I can. So I really think that people mean well when they say things, but for me, this whole process is about not avoiding anything. It's about looking at everything, looking at all the physical diagnosis that I have, figuring out what is the best course of action, and not avoiding anything at all, and actually just exploring it to the fullest, because I have not. And I have received some really great care from some physicians along the way who've ordered tests. I've also, as you've seen in other videos and posts, I have received some really crappy care from people who are not advocating for me. And so I've had to learn how to stand up for myself and know how I feel, and not let someone else tell me what I'm feeling. A couple months ago too, which is a process I had to go through, was I sat down with one surgeon to talk to them, and basically they said, well, what you have, in particular my hiatal hernia, is really tiny, so it's not causing you pain. And I looked at this person and I said, well, I beg to differ. It's my body. I know what it feels like. And basically they said, well, I don't doubt that you're in pain, but that's not causing it. And we did not see eye to eye. And so this is not a person that I knew would be on my team, and it's not a person that I wanted on my team. So now it was up to me, and I had some great feedback from some people when I shared that, about other options that I could do, other places I would go, other avenues that I could go, to talk to other kind of doctors, to get the kind of tests, or to get the kind of feedback that I really want, which is for someone to look at some of these things as a whole, because that's what I keep getting told, is like, well, this is mild, this is tiny, this is tiny. But sometimes all of these tiny little things can add up to bigger problems. I feel strongly about that as a physical educator, that's what happens. You have little things break down, and then a bunch of then all of a sudden you have a big problem. So I need to find, and that's what I'm searching for, is for people to actually discuss that with me, how to do that. And so I think sometimes that there's, a misconception that because I'm physically searching for answers, that people are making the assumption that, oh, I want to stay wounded. And it's like, no, I don't. I don't want to stay emotionally wounded. I don't want to stay physically wounded. I want to move through these things. And this is a gateway to my own heart. It's a gateway for me to see what I've been holding on to that's been holding me back from actually living more fully. And, sometimes days are crappy. When I cry, or I've just got things where I'm in pain and I'm tired, and I have to look at those crappy things, and you got to sit there with it, because I'm the kind of person who's like, oh, I got to figure out a way through this. And sometimes there's not a way through. You just need to sit with it until, whatever you're feeling will dissipate, instead of holding on to what you're feeling. And I think that's something that I'm really teaching myself how to do, and I have support to be able to do that. So I hope that this video has clarified a few things, and I welcome more discussion, because I do believe that this is it's not just about healing physically, but it's about healing emotionally too. And there's all these spiritual things. Well, you take care of your spirit this way and that way, and I'll tell you that if you really want to take care of your soul, your spirit, take care of your physical body. Look at that too. This is a whole package. You are a whole package. You have to look at everything. It's not always one or the other. It all goes together. And so that's why when anything comes up, I'm looking at everything. All the feelings, all the things I've been avoiding. So if I can leave you with anything, is like, don't avoid stuff. Don't avoid how you feel. Don't avoid physical things. Empower yourself. Knowledge is power. So find your power in whatever it is that you're dealing with.